First item on the agenda is roll call.
Mrs. Bonas? Here. Mr. Connell? Mrs. Naradoi? Here. Mr. Puccetti?
Here.
Mr. LaFleur?
Here. Next item is good and welfare. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak before the board on any item on the agenda can do so at this time. Mr. Clifford.
Hi. We received an email, I received an email from Mr. Flaherty of the CC, Mr. Lindbergh, asking for the budget committee to meet with the planning board to discuss the technology capital. And the planning board members were sent an updated binder of exactly what's in there, along with the town council. But the budget committee members weren't supplied with that. I'm wondering if you could send us an electronic version. I don't want to kill 500 trees.
No, I understand. I think the reason why is because we didn't expect that you
Right.
people were going to be involved. So,
They're just about finished making up. We cannot send electronically, it's way too big.
Oh.
We actually have trouble putting it on our website.
you know,
There's a couple sections, Mike, that literally you would have to get
Yeah.
4 zip files, so.
Yeah.
But they're almost done. So
As long
we
as
just
we're-
didn't know, I had
that's
asked
fine.
where to drop them off to, so.
when do you expect?
Town hall.
Town hall,
Yeah.
to who at the town hall?
Give them to the secretary of Paulette, and she'll give us a call when they're ready. We
Okay.
can go pick them up.
When
Yeah,
do you
because they're all set to go.
I just wanted to make sure we were looking at the same thing as everybody else.
Steve, when do you expect to happen?
My guess is sometime tomorrow. We had to buy some additional small 1-inch notebooks, so,
Okay,
but they're all ready to go.
okay.
And the second question I have is, has the committee that's supposed to oversee the project, that was supposed to be formed for the stage 2 application, been formed, and have they met, and what do they go by?
So it was formed previously to stage 2, and their first meeting with RGB is Thursday at 5.
So when you look for the agenda posted, what is that committee called exactly?
So I haven't really posted an agenda, so I'll have to see if it's mandatory. But
What's it called?
it's the Facility Use and Advisory Group - School Billings Committee.
Right, which Mrs. Bonus is on, Mr. Changes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be on the lookout for the agenda, I'd like to go to something.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we have 2 members of the board that are going to, this is their last meeting, essentially. And I honestly think it's appropriate that we honor these folks. So I'm going to speak to Mr. Puccetti, that being, you probably made a wise decision in not running. But knowing that what you've been through and knowing what you do as a member of the board, I think it's enlightened you as to what this board actually does. And we appreciate the fact that you've stepped forward. I've always said that anybody who steps forward in public office should be congratulated for doing that, just that. And even though you stayed here for a period of 6 months or so, I think you've provided us with some different perspectives, and we certainly appreciate that. And we certainly wish you well, and I'm sure that you'll be popping up sometime soon, I hope.
Absolutely.
Okay? Thank you very much. Say anything first? Thank you. Come on.
All right. And much to my surprise, I'm in charge of presenting Donna Naradoi with our gift for her outstanding service, and for the past 4 years serving as a member of the school committee with some great insight and input into the things that we have to work on and the things that we're doing well and things that she'd like to see change. Donna has provided some great ideas, and we certainly appreciate her service, and we know that definitely she's not going away. We're going to keep her.
Thanks, Dennis.
Would you like to say anything now?
Thank you. No, it
Short.
has. What?
Unscripted and short on
Okay.
words.
No, it's been great. I really like it, and I'm sure I'm not going anywhere. But for right now, I need to take a little deep breath.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be calling on you.
Yeah, I'll be around.
Next item is pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next item is moment of meditation. Thank you. Approval of minutes, October 21st, November 12th. What's your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for October 21st and November 12th as submitted.
You've heard the recommendation, the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Nardi, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Legal issues pending, Mr. Lindberg?
None at this time?
Okay, payment of invoices, Mrs. Jonas.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the disbursement report for the month of October 2014 in the amount of $1,895,361.40 as submitted.
Okay, for the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Nardi, discussion?
I just had a question.
Yep.
I just know the DAP program. Have we always done that? Are these particular trips that are being done?
I didn't hear your question.
DATCO?
For the DAP ones, I mean, break that over to.
What page is it
Oh,
on?
I think it's on page
Should be in the lower
15.
15.
And the question is,
Are those are separate checks? Is that like separate checks for particular, runs outside of their normal run? Is that the idea?
Those checks.
Just checks. As opposed to just cutting one
for
check?
sports?
Yeah,
Yes,
those are separate
that is
runs.
typical, yes.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm sorry, they actually started at 12.
Yeah.
That's
So
okay,
when you
yeah,
see-
that is typical.
When
for
you
the-
see check group,
Yep.
that means that whole group is one check.
Itemized.
Okay.
So those are not all separate checks.
But it shows the different runs they had to do.
Runs.
Correct.
That's kind of what I thought, that was my question.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Money's received, Mrs. Jonas.
I'd like to make a motion for the cash receipt report for the month of October 2014 in the amount of $593,125.43 as submitted.
Any further motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Nardi, discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item is Superintendent's report, personnel recommendations. Recommendations, appointments, leaves. Mr. Lindberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I recommend the committee accept the resignation as submitted from Mrs. Carolyn Frank, our Smithfield Elementary School Principal for retirement purposes, effective June 30th, 2015, with 36 years of service. Regretfully, I am recommending that.
Okay. For the recommendation, what's your pleasure? Sorry, we're losing too many people today.
All right, let it happen.
I move we accept the present recommendation and also the recommendation.
All right. You've heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Obviously, Mrs. Frayne, I think when we met the last time, we obviously regretted the action, but we understand the action. 36 years is a long time. We've been here a long time. Certainly, you've touched a lot of children that have come across your path, and we certainly appreciate your support, your teamwork. We've got a good administrative group here, and to see someone like you go is difficult to accept, but we understand the circumstances, so we certainly wish you well, and I'm sure you, like Donna and like Chris, you're not going anywhere, because we expect to see you helping out along the way, but we certainly wish you well.
Certainly appreciate it. And,
Not an easy decision.
no, I can understand.
Mr.
It's-
Chairman,
it's in your- it's in your blood.
Sure.
Or could you reach out?
I can read it. To Justice Stephen Lindberg, Superintendent of Schools. Dear Mr. Lindberg, it is with mixed emotions that I write to you this morning. I intend to retire from the Smithfield School Department as of June 30th, 2015, after a long and memorable career of 36 years. I taught nearly every grade at the elementary level in 3 schools, taught special education, and have led the district in a variety of administrative positions. To say I will miss the children, parents, and teachers would be an understatement. The administrative team is second to none, and as dedicated as a group as I've ever witnessed. As you know, I have dedicated my life to North Smithfield. It's been an honor to serve the students, teachers, the parents, and this very special community. Thank you for your consistent support and leadership, Carolyn Frank. I will put that in the record, and obviously with regret, but certainly our well wishes. Any other discussions, comments?
I just think a round of applause at this time.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Lindberg.
Mr. Chair, I recommend the committee approve the non-certified appointment of James Fournier, head custodian, effective date July 1st, 2014, for the 14-15 school year only.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. What's your pleasure? So Mrs. Waller, second.
Session.
Second, Mrs. Nardoli, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Lindberg.
Mr. Chair, I recommend the committee approve the following extracurricular special appointments for the 14-15 school year only as submitted. I'll read them if you'd like, or...
Yeah, if you want.
High school, Natalie O'Brien, freshman class advisor, stipend $175. Lauren Nelson, freshman class co-advisor, stipend $175. Rita Vieira, DECA advisor, stipend $400. At North Smithfield Elementary School, Carolyn Frayne, school improvement team co-chair, no stipend. Tracy Lafreniere, school improvement team co-chair, stipend $500. Jennifer Dagnall, school improvement team secretary, stipend $300. Jamie Austin, school improvement team member. Kim Solfaro, school improvement team member. Nancy Crowell, Denise Grenga, Cynthia Roberts, and Laura Doobie, all school improvement team members.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. What's your pleasure?
I move we accept the superintendent's recommendation after these appointments.
So moved, Mr. Connell. Second? Second, Mr. Pachetti. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Lindberg.
I'll hold my report to last if you'd like the business department
Sure.
manager report next.
Sure. Mrs. Lockhart.
October 31st, we had, in our budget, when we made it at that time, $2,097,395.03. I've included a memo on the front that explains how to read that report. If you have any questions, so we have an answer.
Any questions of Mrs. Lockhart?
Well, the only question I had, I think I had a chance, sorry,
Go ahead.
I did review these and I looked at the budget balance, I was looking at that and everything. The one thing I have is like, I can see like a budget balance. Is there a way to tell though, like, where we are in terms of what we budgeted for? In other words, are we ahead of our budget, behind our budget? Is there a way to tell from this where we're at? Or?
Well, this isn't a projection, it's not a forecast,
Right.
but that remaining balance,
Yep.
that is in comparison to our budget, our original adopted budget.
Any other questions?
I think it's worth it, just, again, it just puts it in perspective. We were just referencing the last paragraph on the cheat sheet, because those are the variables that typically get pinned down when Lisa, usually end of December, January, you try to do a mid-year and you account for all the variables. So the variables are kind of the wild cards, Bill, but although Lisa tracks them, she would rather do a detailed forecast to give you the actual penny bottom line.
Sure, and I understand that, when you say it's not a forecast, I understand that. I just was trying to, trying to keep the little kids snapshot of where we are. And I like this a lot. I'm just trying to make sure I can forecast like that, keep track of where we're at.
No, I understand. Mr. Lindberg, your own points?
We need to accept this?
I don't think we can have a motion to accept and place on file.
Or maybe we should, do you?
We've never done it before.
Okay.
I mean, these are fluid numbers anyway, and these are on a monthly report. Okay. Mr. Lindberg?
Sure, I'm just going to give you my report quickly. I'd like to recognize the new building principals formats for their updates and newsletters. I think you find them what I would call crisp. You'll find a major theme throughout the reports of the administrators, as well as Claire Arnold and Adam Stanley's report about the successful PD day we had on November 4th. As you know, we've talked to you and with you about our movement as a district to Google Apps. It's being reinforced with every PD day we have. What's nice about our Google instructors, so to speak, is that they're all consortium members. People from Lincoln, North Smithfield, instructors, staff, administrators, and teachers working together to do the training. So you should be very pleased with that. The rest of that day focused on autism information strategies, classroom instructional practices that focus on engagement and questioning techniques. Also, we had a group working on the next generation science standards as well as preparing for PARC. I'd like to encourage you to read about the ELA and Math Instructional Refinement Project, but especially a community of practice shared classroom initiative that you read about in Mrs. Arnold's report. To her credit and the building principals and the instructional staff, this was initiated last year, and I'm not sure we've hit upon anything as meaningful that's driven change and immediate change as this practice. So I encourage you, it's a short paragraph, it's really wonderful. Ms. Rathburn, with the assistance of our PPS department, held an initial meet and greet night on November 5th in this room in the hopes of revitalizing the Special Education Advisory Group. They had a nice turnout with some wonderful people in discussing the fruitful, and they have future agenda topics lined up. You'll notice that Mr. Adam Stanley's administrative report, that under his leadership and as an administrative team, with the eventual help of specific faculty, we have announced the beginnings of something that we're very excited about. It's going to be a technology night event for both parents and the community at large. So you can look forward to more coming out on that, but kudos to Adam and the administrative team for shaping this up. It's going to be really, really special. This initiative will be released in my upcoming newsletter this week, as well as in several other venues. Again, we're very excited about the event, and we'll be seeking feedback actually from those interested in attending so that we shape up our offerings. The facility report from Tony succinctly states how busy they have been. And Tony will be actually looking into the possibility of solar panels for the middle school roof. We have our initial meeting Thursday night on stage 2 of the school project referendum with the School Buildings Advisory Group in RGB. Parent-teacher conference nights appear to have gone very successfully. I'd like to just end with a special note. The high school has announced the creation of the Northman Navigator, new online newspaper initiated by students in Mrs. Egan's journalism class. Also, the guidance office at the high school has created an online daily newspaper focused on college admissions for our school community. And the high school is offering free test prep to juniors and seniors in partnering with Edgenuity and Way to Go Rhode Island. Lots of very, very important upcoming dates. Please check our district activity calendar on the main webpage. There's way too many to mention. The town council president had decided that the school department's capital technology plan that you all received a notebook copy of was to be redirected towards the planning board and the budget committee. To that end, a joint meeting of both of those boards has been scheduled for December 4th, Thursday night, at which time we will return for their read, review, or review in questions. I'd like to request school committee attendance. If there are more than 3, we certainly will post the meeting accordingly. For the December school committee meeting, with Mr. LaFleur's permission, I've scheduled Attorney Benjamin Scungio and Mrs. Marcotte and the possibility of an auditor to address the committee and bring the committee up to speed with funding mechanisms. This is the most important discussion as it is likely to impact your FY16 budget deliberations. And in closing for that same meeting, we really would like to feature Mr. Mezzanotte, Mr. Pepin, and Mr. McGee to present to you a little bit of the old-fashioned way, the future vision of the high school in order to meet student needs as well as address NEASC and BEP issues. I've had the pleasure of actually experiencing a preliminary dry run, and candidly, I was most impressed with the process and the work that I put into this. So, it's the end of my report, and thank you.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions of any of the reports that were submitted? No?
I just have a question on this.
Yes, ma'am.
That's what Mr. Coker was referring to.
I understand that. Is there any way that rather than more trees or whatever it is, can we get this in Google Docs? Stuff, like anything that's big like this, can we get it sent to us in Google Docs rather than in a binder? I have, I don't know, 10 feet wall of binders at my house now at this point.
In a different way, our dilemma was, as I had said earlier, we tried to send electronically.
I understand, a Word document might be, like, this is, too much, but a Google Doc would work.
Yeah, I'm not the expert on Google Drive or Google Docs. I don't know if they could all be converted. Some of them came to us as
If you
PDFs.
create a Google Doc.
If it's
you have to
created.
convert it.
That's true, but some of the information we got from vendors that submitted their bid didn't come in Google Docs, so, I'm not trying to argue with you, I agree, if there's an easier way.
Saying it's scanned and then, I don't know.
Yeah.
Here. They have enough binders.
Anything else? Okay. Moving on, school committees, town council liaison update, Mr. Collins?
No, nothing to add from the last meeting.
Okay,
I was not able to make last night's meeting.
Okay. okay. Correspondence received, Mrs. McGee, nothing, Mr. Lindbergh, nothing?
Nope.
Okay. Next item, legislative update.
I don't have anything at this time, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Old business, fiscal year operating capital budgets, October report we have already. Anything else you'd like to add for the October, or the fiscal year 15? Okay. Fiscal year 16?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd asked that if, I think it's in your packet, I'd asked if we could review just certain parts of the operating guidelines, administrative procedures, as well as address the timeline planning. I'm sorry, sir. Okay. So,
It's way in the back is procedure, those same things.
oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so if you could give me a minute, thank you. The booklet that we gave to you that's a procedure, I did not have printed out and copied and again submitted. So my apologies for that. I just want to reiterate some of the assumptions. So if you could bear with me, and then I have a timeline that I would like you to review and decide if this is a good timeline for you all. So just to reiterate the assumptions and guidance, because we've really worked hard on this, and you know that we've begun the budget process administratively. The fiscal planning, number one, is initially based upon the school committee's district strategic plan. That then, also our planning has included the basic education plan document and our review of that, as well as any review or input from the NEASC report. So, and then lastly, we identify and document any of the student needs, educational programs, social, emotional, and extracurricular. The fiscal guidelines for our budget submission also will include the recommendations from the Bacon and Edge May 2014 independent audit review commissioned by the town council. So really what we're looking at is the initial budget. If the initial budget were to exceed the local appropriation percentage increase cap and a state aid estimate provided by the business manager. That would trigger the district administration to create what's called a supplemental budget, and you have that information. This was strongly recommended by the Bacon and Edge report as the way we should approach our budget with you. So again, our initial budget is geared towards meeting identified known obligations. Administrators base their respective budgets on a zero-based premise required for operational personnel. And then we look at our strategic plan, the BEP, NEAS, and we try to use those as our priorities for recommending to you the budget. So I wanted just to reestablish those assumptions. Again, I apologize for not reminding you to bring that forward. So are there any questions about the assumptions? It's kind of what we're following. Okay. So the last piece, if I may, is the timeline. The highlighted section is really what I'd like your input on. Right now, we're proposing to have the budget drafts to the school committee December 19th in your Friday packet. So you would get the budget drafts the 19th. The school committee budget workshop, discussion with administrators, public, however you'd like to proceed on the recommended preliminary budget, we would ask for your consideration for either January 6th or the 7th or the 8th. We believe with that review, and that will be a totally different review, that won't involve every administrator presenting as in the past. With that review, we then would hope that on your regularly scheduled night, January 20th, you would be able to decide or take a vote on moving the budget forward, in which case then we would have the responsibility to turn it into the town administrator February 2nd. So that's what we're proposing if that meets your need. And then the other is if you so desire, and that's the school district budget presentation to, if you want to ask for a joint meeting with you, with the budget committee and town council. But more importantly is the December 19th, the early January date, and then you would then have time to mull things over and come back on the 20th and make a decision. Does that meet your needs?
Okay. I don't see a problem with any of these.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of deciding what date in January?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a calendar. Let's
It's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Thursday.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I just suggest, I know we talked last time about maybe doing this on maybe it was a Saturday morning, like, and have like, almost like a pastry type thing, and so,
Yeah.
Which one, Mr. Cannell?
That, are you referring to the joint meeting?
Yeah, I thought that, remember, we
Yeah.
talked about that before.
No, I think that's the one that says it's so desired,
Okay.
which would be great. I don't have a problem doing that, we've done it in the past, and I think what Mr. Lindbergh's talking about, the 6th, 7th, and 8th is the initial budget workshop, basically presenting the budget to us.
Okay, I see that, yeah, I think, okay, I'm good, I'm good with the 6th, 7th, and 8th, that's fine, and I
Yeah,
also like to do the
Do we have to
7th.
decide the date now?
You don't, but the sooner you set it, the less confusion there is.
I think January 6th is always, I think Tuesdays are, I don't know how they are with you.
I'll be wide open.
Okay. How about you, Mr.
Me too. I'll come over if you want.
It's open to the public.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's really up to you.
I prefer Tuesday, because they're generally set aside. They're generally set Tuesdays aside, so.
Well, college football
Well, we-
playoff game, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait, I'm
You want me to poll the committee?
Yeah, why don't we do
All right,
that?
I'll
Why don't we
do
do
that, thank you.
And then,
You're gonna pull, if you pull the committee this far in advance, nobody's gonna know what they're doing in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
You
yet.
want to avoid the early in the week because they're,
Because what?
You two new people might just print on Tuesday. Tuesdays too, so stick with the
Stick
Tuesday.
with
and
the
go with
Tuesday.
All right,
Just-
Tuesday it
just-
is.
Just declare it and that's it.
Declared.
Declare it.
January
Mark
6th.
it,
And if
put
we
it on
have
your
to change
calendar.
it, we can
It's on your
change it. How's
calendar.
that?
Put it on your calendar now before anything else gets there. Jeez,
We'll
It's 2
we'll-
months
we'll-
away.
we'll set it at January 6th, and then if we have to maneuver that date as time gets closer,
Okay,
we'll do so.
very good.
And I'm assuming these days take advantage of the new deadlines we have, charter changes,
It
right?
does, yes, it does. If that had not passed, we would have been asking you to submit a request for an extension, just because it gets so backed up.
No, because we pushed for that hard and we asked for that, and people gave it to us, so
Yeah.
we should take advantage of it.
Yep, no question.
Then you all can decide another time whether you would like to do that Saturday morning.
I think it's Saturday morning.
presentation.
I know, I'm just gonna say, just for the point, I'd like to do it, I think it'd be great to do it Saturday morning with,
Yeah.
a relaxed atmosphere here, maybe the middle school, figure it out.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Lindberg?
No, that was it, thank you very much.
Okay.
I don't think it requires a vote.
No, I don't think so either. Next item is Rise Mayoral Academy, ride vote. Mr. Lindberg?
Mr. Scungio was looking into the process by which to ask or consider to ask the council on elementary and secondary if there's a way for them to put on their agenda a reconsideration of vote. I have not sent an official letter to the people you asked me to. I did talk to Mr. Scungio about how to draft those letters. And then the latest is Mrs. Marcotte has informed me that we may have to budget $139,000 out of your operating budget to cover potential tuition costs to the Rise Mayoral Academy.
Okay.
That's the update.
All right. And Mr., are we going to be meeting with Mr. Scungio later?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
If we have to budget $139,000 out of our operating budget, where will we take that money from?
I don't have an answer for you.
We really don't have a choice, right? There's no choices.
No, that's why Mr. Lindberg is referred to the possible reconsideration or question. So, we're gonna have to figure out, notify all the appropriate parties and go from there. Because obviously we need to budget that.
Well, it's potential for next September, correct? So it's in, it would have to be in this
This-
current budget cycle that we're gonna be talking about on January 6th.
Correct.
Or not.
Or not.
Okay. What does that mean or not?
You have budget for it or you don't.
Okay. And if
Depends
we don't
on-
budget for it and we have 13 students who decide that they want to go to this, a charter school, we get a bill, then what happens?
Yeah, the or not has to do with whatever, Attorney Scungio advises you on, or if the,
$139,000 is predicting 13 students?
yes.
Okay.
But we don't have the
And that
actual
prediction
number of
comes from,
students.
How is enrollment based by
I
town?
was just gonna ask.
So would Woonsocket have the first opportunity to put students in?
No, anybody has, if parents have any opportunity, they want to apply. I'm not sure of their criteria, I'm not an expert on it.
there's a
Wasn't there a
percentage.
breakdown though,
There's a breakdown.
50% Woonsocket,
It's gonna
and
be.
the other half between the.
Yeah, it's a breakdown, 50% of those students that
Woonsocket.
leave in Woonsocket, correct.
And the
That's
other
right.
half between
Burville
Burville
and North Smithfield.
I don't know if it was like 25-25, or just the other half between Burville and.
Bill, was that their projection, or is that a defined allotment of space?
That I
didn't-
don't know.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a defined allotment, I think it was their projection.
So that number, that 13 could go up.
Could go up, could go lower, yeah.
How does Woonsocket budget for that?
Well, borrow. What's
Yeah.
that with Monaco?
Yeah, what's that thing?
There are a lot of peripheral issues, I think, that have to be taken up with the attorney, and
That's
it may be all for naught, but
Great idea, Bill.
we know.
I'd like to
Could
hear.
you reach out to the superintendent in Burville and find out what he's doing with?
I can, I
his
see him tomorrow
budget,
morning.
with his budget, as
Yeah.
far as if he's projecting 13 students, and if he is, then how he's handling it within his budget
Yeah,
parameters?
and Mrs. Bonus, I wasn't saying that, obviously, we'll have to budget for it. The or not is if something evolves elsewhere,
Correct. But
that's all I'm saying.
I'd rather budget for it
Oh,
on the
yeah.
safe side than not budget for it and then be caught.
Well, I think when the budget comes forward, it'll be in there, and it'll be your call whether, how far you want to go, or if you want to pursue it, or suggest another department budget for it.
Right. That's, at that point, we'll deal with it, but it needs to be in there.
Okay. So we'll hear more on this from Mr. Scungio. All right. Next item is technology capital funded plan recommendation of the town council.
Yeah, just a quick comment, that was the notebook that Mrs. Bonus was talking about, and certainly if we could have done it a different way, we would, but I think at this point, it was more important that what you have be extremely comprehensive and thorough, and I think that's what you have, and that's why we put it together. I think there are a lot of questions, and I think the index and the chart in it explains every step of the way from, the bid that went out, the low bidder's response. So we kind of indexed everything as thoroughly as we could, so that it could be really up to date and comprehensive. So that's really it, unless Adam has anything new to add. I already added in my report about it's going to be re-reviewed on the board.
All right, any comments? No? Adam? I don't think he shook his head no. Okay. All right. Next item, new business, district textbook plan. Mr. Winter?
Yes. It was brought, it's part of your own policy, so I recommend the committee vote to approve and support the district textbook plan as submitted. You can see that I think it was really well put together. It's based on comprehensive needs assessment, outdated text, curriculum alignment. This plan is directly connected to the BEP component, G13.2, effective instruction for all students, and also directly connected, the process is directly connected to the auditor's report with regard to bringing it forward. So we really dotted our I's and crossed our T's, and clear on us here if you have any questions, but the basis is pretty sound, and
Yeah.
I think for the first time you now have a comprehensive look at the direction we need to go in.
Well, as you indicated, it was cited in the Bacon and Edge report too, so.
Well, rightfully so,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair. I think we've nickeled and dimed this as much as we could, and there's money,
Couldn't agree more.
we try to do the purchase, but this is a real comprehensive plan, and again, you'll have to decide, at the budget proposal, where and how this might get funded.
Okay. Any questions?
I
You've heard- go ahead.
I think that Mr. Lindbergh kind of just anticipated my question ahead of time. In the 14-15, did we already fund the world languages?
We did.
Yes.
Okay, so going forward, we're looking at middle school math
Yes.
and high school math.
Yes,
And it's expensive.
it is.
And as you note in our memo here, electronic versions, we're not at that point yet with our students and with our technology. And maybe we will be soon, hopefully. But $105,000 for math textbooks. This is already researched, this is the cheapest way we can go, this is it.
It is, I think, the best way we can go. I think I don't think that we as a district are ready we don't have a one-on-one initiative, we don't have the devices, we don't have all the supports in place that we're ready to launch an online app-only type version. And we haven't come to the committee prior to this because we're waiting for the textbook companies to really catch up to develop quality materials that are aligned to these standards. So this is, we feel that there are quality programs that are out there. Once we decision that the committee made fun, and it's about 9 years later.
A long time ago, right.
Yeah, but we're still using it, and it's going really well, and that's the program at the elementary. We have the need for a math program, a comprehensive program, I think it first and foremost is our number one need in the district as far as materials.
And that's why it's for next year, I get that. But $105,000, and we just talked about $139,000 for students who may be at charter school, that's just at the mayoral academy, never mind the other charter schools that we're already sending them to. And our budget is stretched so thin, it's practically snapping right now. So I'm wondering, where is this money coming from? And we're gonna have to sit in January, on January 6th, and look at the budget, and then eventually say, okay, cut what? We're gonna have to cut. Cut what? Textbooks? Math textbooks, math doesn't really change. Algebra is algebra is algebra. History changes, science changes, math is math.
The difference is the standards have
Yeah,
changed, and they are very different. There's standards that the sixth grade teachers have never taught before. They don't exist in the textbooks.
And they
that
have the training to teach it now.
Right, and so we've done a ton of work with transitional materials over the last few years, and we're training teachers in the standards and how to teach them. But when a student goes home to do homework or do a project, they don't have a textbook to rely on, to go back to. And I hear parents regularly say to me, they would like a textbook that has more information.
I hear that too. As a parent, as a person who actually tutors students from this district in math, because I'm still certifiable sometimes, but the kids are coming to me and saying, I don't have a textbook for this Algebra 2 course, and I have to follow these packets the teachers are giving me. And I get that, but there's so many electronic resources. If I look at your curriculum that you and the teachers designed, there's so many places where I can hyperlink to, whether it's Khan Academy or other hyperlinks. There's a lot of tutorials, so I don't know why we have to spend so much money on that. And I'm not trying to argue with you.
Go big or go home now. I think that of all of our initiatives, it is so worthy of this. Math, we don't do, isn't our best content area in the district. It's something that we've had in our strategic plan. I want to bring it forward to you if I didn't stand behind it. I genuinely feel like we need this. I think that there are materials that will last for a very long time, that they'll help our students. We will still teach our curriculum. So a textbook isn't a curriculum. The textbook will be the resource. So all the study of the standards and developing of the units and the parent information guides for the units, the links that we made for tutorial students will still have access to that, but they'll also have the textbook. And keep in mind also the $105,000, we don't have, that's an estimate, but we haven't picked the program. Right now we're looking at the materials, we're vetting materials, we don't have the final quote. And if we had to, I don't know, take something out, we'd probably figure that out as we went. I
Yeah, well,
firmly
yeah.
believe that we need to move forward.
I know I'm talking on both sides of my mouth, and I know it sounds like that, because I agree with you that there are many parents and students who come and say, I don't have a textbook, I need a textbook. It would be so much easier if I could have a textbook at home and help my child, so I could look at chapter 1, section, 3, and find out what the teacher was teaching, and parents want to be able to help their children. I get that. On the other side, I'm going, $105,000, Claire, that's ridiculous. And where's that gonna come from? So,
Yeah, I think you'll have some tough choices to make, Mrs. Bonus, but the reality is, we're responsible, school committee as well as we, to provide the necessary text and materials that ensure that students are supported fully in acquiring the knowledge and skills specified in the comprehensive program of study. Your faculty, your teachers work arduously for a long time to revamp their math curriculum and align it to Common Core state standards. They're doing their best to teach it now with
Without
books that are incredibly ineffective and deficient. I think we owe it to them to give them the resources that they need, and we owe it to our kids. You'll have tough decisions to make, but I'm not sure, this is, to me, this has to be done. And in fact, Claire had put it out over 2 years. What she's not telling you is she felt like really it's so important because our math is really what it's at, and we've been concentrating on it. She would have preferred to combine 15, 16, and 16, 17 and do it all at once, but we spread this out. So it's unquestionable that you as a school committee need to update your text and materials. You do.
So the question I have is, what are you asking us to vote on tonight? You're not asking us to vote to approve $105,000 tonight.
No, I'm to adopt the plan unless you,
You can adopt the plan, but ultimately, there's going to be a vote on a budget that may end up not supporting the plan.
you gotta start somewhere, don't you?
Okay,
And
all
this
right, all right.
This
just-
is also
just
part of
gonna
your
stop there.
policy.
Okay, just so you know.
Yeah, so it's part of your policy.
So
So
it's not anything unusual.
if you don't, if you choose not to support it, I get it, and we'll throw it out, we won't have a plan, but reality is, honestly, I think it's irresponsible for a school committee and a school department not to move forward on this. It really is. It's long overdue. Your math has been long overdue. We have tried to nickel and dime things for several years with pockets here and pockets there. This is a really well thought out plan that Claire just didn't make up on her own. So.
I agree. I agree with the plan.
Okay. You've heard the recommendation. Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to speak to this. I kind of echo Ms. Bonus's comments. I'm not sure if I do support it. I mean, and I'm not going to ask a lot of questions to Claire, because I know she, I understand she put a lot in, feel free to chime in, but like the thing I noticed here when I was going through it, and again, I think Ms. Bonus and I both would jump on the same thing. Why not the online electronic textbooks? It seems to me that's where everything's going now. I see the middle school kids all involved on their own devices and everything. We talk about we don't have the technology, the bandwidth, and those things we can get. The student devices to support this option. I mean, have we considered the fact, thinking outside the box, a lot of our kids have their own devices. I mean, often it's described, it's contemplated like the school has to buy the students the devices, but a lot of students have their own devices. I mean, maybe it's, you don't usually say we're going to put this out there and ask people who have devices to use their own devices. I mean, a lot of the kids have their own laptops or pads or some type of device. I'm just saying that'd be something we could, when I see student devices, so often it seems like we're starting with the basic, like the school has to provide the devices for the kids. Maybe we can do something outside the box and say, hey, we're going to have this stuff, that people have the devices, bring your own, a lot of people are more comfortable with their own devices anyway, and we could provide a few devices for a few kids who need them, who don't have their own. But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is those are options that I look at the report, I don't know how much we've looked into those ideas and how much we pursue those options. And I also agree with Ms. Bonus, it seems to me that looking at paying for all these going up and and I understand these is projected estimates, but I'm looking at like $90,000 for literature text in 1920, in 2019, 2020. I know that's how many years it is, I guess it's 5 or 6 years out. I'm hoping we'll be online at that point. Again, I'm not really sure how I feel about this.
Well,
Just
so,
so I understand, we're being asked to vote on something that we don't know what the numbers are going to be.
You're being asked to vote on a 5-year textbook purchase plan at this point in time because it's a requirement of your school committee policy. It was recommended by Bacon and Edge when they did the independent audit review that we actually come forward with this plan. And I'm not sure how comfortable Claire is, but she did extensive research on electronic textbooks. So let me just divert for a minute. We would have serious issues if we moved to an all-electronic base. The reason being is you can't assure that every student at home has access to the internet. We'll run into a colossal problem with the ACLU, and they're already pursuing districts that have gone down this path unless you provide a device to every student. Now, you do have to bring in your own device, but you don't know if it's a phone, I doubt that they're gonna be able to manage a textbook on their phone. The textbook, in essence, when you purchase textbooks today, you get an online version as a supplement. I doubt very few districts, and Claire has researched this, where people have moved to an electronic textbook. We don't have the capability in the classroom to teach kids from a device where they're referring to electronically, and then what happens when they go home? We will clearly, in my opinion, have a serious suit, because we can't guarantee that those students have access to that text at home. To me, your very foundation, no matter what the cutting edge stuff is, maybe it's in college, I don't know, where they can guarantee you in your dorm room, you're gonna have access to that electronically. But this is a public school district, it's not a college, and we're not endowed very well, so to speak. So the very basis of what we need to teach kids is that textbook, Bill. It is, unequivocally. And your math texts are an embarrassment. They are an embarrassment. And so I understand how you feel about the plan. You're not voting to commit the money. You're voting on the fact that a lot of people put hard work into this plan. And we've done what we believe we needed to do, and we brought it forward. If you don't want to support it, I get it, that's okay.
That's why they can't have devices.
Dangerous.
That right there.
And honestly,
I think the other thing that's worthy to note is that online textbook, there's a fee. You don't just, get it
Huge
for
fee.
free. And so there's a subscription. Now, if we
Huge.
buy a textbook, we actually get that online as with the textbook. But there is a yearly fee. You can buy it for 5 years or a 1-year subscription or a 5-year subscription. But if you intend to use the textbooks for 10 years, I think it even better. So I don't think it's a money saver at this point. It may be, and honestly, I'm hoping that we will see a lot more electronic resources and technology integration. But as far as what we need today, we probably needed it yesterday, or math especially. I stand behind the resources that are out there, the textbook resources.
Now, are these numbers worst case scenario? In dollar amount?
Yes. Yep, it wouldn't be negative.
This is no different than us approving a 5-year capital plan.
no different.
No
It's
different.
all relevant,
It's
it's all
setting-
relevant to your funding.
Setting something
Yeah.
to at least inform, our commitment to complying with the BEP, A. B, I don't know how it affects our NEASC if we don't vote to approve something like this, because at least it shows the NEASC, Mr. Mazzanotti, submitting your reports to them, will obviously acknowledge that we've established a textbook plan in conformance with the BEP, at least to show the initiative that we are looking for. Are these numbers fluid? Yeah, I think they are fluid. And can they change with regard to maybe moving science into an electronic stage versus math versus history? Those are the things that I think we need to at least approve a plan, put it in place, and then at budget time, we have to balance like we always do, and they have to balance what they always do with the priority. In fact, it does state that in here as well, that it's going to be submitted. If additional funds are needed, it's going to be provided and the excess items in order of importance. So that's what this determines, our order of importance. Now, how that plays into the budget?
It's another story, it's another issue.
That's right.
To me, if you need to decide whether you're going to stand for this or not, and I get that. And in separate from the funding, we all know that the funding issues are something that we're going to have to look at. They're serious issues. But if you don't start with a plan, then, and if you don't start with something you believe in, and to me, this is a hard place not to, only because it's pretty clear in the BEP, and we're sitting here telling you, you have deplorable, outdated textbooks, and they're not meeting the needs of your children. And so we're trying to honor our responsibility, not only under the BEP, but I think the feedback we got from, the Bacon and Edge report was outstanding. And we cited that right there for you. So it's really up to you. So.
All right, well, I'm gonna move the question at this point. You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Looking for a motion to approve the plan as submitted. Motion?
Motion to
Okay.
move it.
You've heard the
It's about
motion?
plan.
What's that?
It's about agreeing to.
Establishing
the plan.
a plan,
Right, yeah. So,
which can be fluid. Okay? So I'm looking for a second at this time.
Second.
Second, Mr. Pachetti. Discussion? Again, this is just to establish a proposed plan. Can it change? Yes, it can change. Can it be not funded?
Sure.
Partially or not?
It's a
Well,
plan.
not at all.
Yeah.
But at least we've shown the folks that are out there that we are committed to improving the district textbook.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to be clear, my concern about this again is that I want to make sure we're not, or, I don't want to say throwing good money at the bat, that's not what I mean, but that we're going down a road when the other path is over here, and electronic textbooks to me, whether we're going that road or not, that's where everyone's going to be in 10 years, maybe 5 years, I don't know, that's where we're going.
We do
so.
get the electronic version with the textbook, so.
Well, I guess what,
We're paying for both though.
Right.
the one comment that was made is,
Yeah.
we're a public school system, and the challenges we have, that if somebody doesn't have internet at home, or the access to a iPad or a laptop, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you can't not supply the needed material.
It's really, I'm sorry, it's really the horse in front of the cart, in my opinion. As Claire just said, the best way to go is you start with the textbook and they add in the electronic version. I can recall 5 or 8 years ago, someone saying, in 5 or 8 years or 10 years, you'll all be electronic textbooks. Good luck with that. I'm not sure that it's gotten to that point or been that cost effective. Claire's done her research. If you simply will go the electronic way, considering the hurdle that Mr. Pachetti mentioned, you still have an exorbitant cost that you're going to have to pay, by the way, every year. And once you go that route, you're at their mercy. You're at their mercy every year. In other words, they could
It's a
easily
prescription.
up the prescription rate. So,
I mean, hypothetically, what's the cost per year for the subscription for a bathroom?
I
Ballpark, I would never hold it to you, is it?
know, I was thinking of $30 a student a year. Not, it might not be $30, it might be most a year. I just can't remember. I looked at it recently, I just don't want to.
we purposely looked into the electronic before we brought this forward.
I kind of have the same vision as Bill, because I do want to see us heading in that direction of more electronic everything. Google Docs, Google Classroom. I would like to see students have that, I would like to have the districts have the one-on-one initiative. And some districts do have it, in New England. Let's just put it that way, Massachusetts and Rhode Island that I know of. And some of it's grant funded, yes, because of the size of the district and, the debt in the district. But the students that do have the one-on-one and they have their Chromebook or whatever, if they don't have Wi-Fi at home, there's Wi-Fi at McDonald's, there's Wi-Fi at the library, there's Wi-Fi after school. There's opportunity for them to do their homework. There's not, they go home and they can't do it. There is opportunity. So I do have that vision. Is it something that can happen in 15, 16? Probably not. Do we have to move forward with purchasing textbooks that, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they may not be using because everything's electronic? Who knows? Well, I agree with you that our textbooks, our math textbooks in particular, are not currently aligned with the standards. Algebra 2 is no longer the Algebra 2 that we used to do with the Houghton Mifflin Algebra 2 textbook that the kids have. It's a combination of Algebra 2 and pre-calc. So they really need that Algebra 2 textbook and that pre-calculus textbook.
Right.
And they have to carry 50 pounds of textbook. Or you know, the teachers have to come with reproducible stuff, and they're spending money on ink and paper and copies and everything else, so.
I think
We're gonna move on, because I think we're going around in circles, we're saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
I think the point is that we're gonna adopt a plan, it's gonna be fluid.
it can change every year.
It's gonna change every year, and we can't assume that everybody in this town has internet, and we're not gonna force people to go to Dunkin' Donuts just to.
Well,
so
they can
get
stay
their
after
homework.
school, we have Wi-Fi.
I understand that, but you know what? They were,
Maybe we'd have to bus them home.
yeah,
No,
it opens up a
that's
whole
not
new
true.
can of worms, and
We
we're
do
not
have a
gonna,
bus.
we're not gonna get into
Thursdays.
assumptions when we have an obligation to provide this kind of a plan. So I think we're gonna move on it, so
Could we,
at this point, I'm gonna end the meeting.
this is going to say, we could have and have them share a book at school.
There's no reason why.
Now I'm definitely end debate. I'm gonna call a question at this point. All those in favor of the approved plan signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you.
Don's-
Good discussion, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Claire.
We've got an eye on the future, so.